Should have.
All right. All right, folks. So good evening and happy Monday. So this public hearing is called to order on May 12th, 2025 at 6:33 p.m. at the East Midwood Jewish Center located at 1625 Ocean Avenue, Brooklyn. So the purpose of this public hearing is to hear public testimony with respect to a request to co-name 1592 East 12th Street in honor of World War II Marine Sergeant Charlie J. Ciara. CB14's policy on street co-namings is to defer to the relevant New York City Council person, as street co-namings are administered through omnibus bills proposed in the council. This hearing is being held at the request of New York City Council member Ina Vernikov. So the applicant for the proposal, well, excuse me, I just spoke. So the proposal will be submitted by Council member Vernikov's office, and here to speak on its behalf are Legislative Director Troy Olson from Council member Vernikov's office, and also Detective Ciara. And the proposal is supported by Marine Sergeant Ciara's family. So, gentlemen, please go to the podium, and it is your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Troy Olson. I'm Ina Vernikov's, Councilwoman Ina Vernikov's Legislative Director. I'm also an Army veteran, and so through connections, as a member of the American Legion and knowing people, I think this VFW out of the Queens got in touch with the office some weeks ago, and that set me on a bit of a internet sleuthing journey, looking up the story of World War II Marine Sergeant Charlie Ciara, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. Councilwoman Vernikov's policy is she does like to have the 3 community boards in her district advise and recommend on the co-namings. This story is mostly known. There's certain aspects of it that are still a mystery, but I'll try to be brief. In the Second World War, in 1944 in the South Pacific, Sergeant Ciara and Lieutenant Billy Ramsey of Texas, Charlie is, of course, was a proud son of Brooklyn who grew up in the district and in front of the house, which is on 1592 East 12th Street, is where right on that corner is where the co-naming would be at. So they were shot down in the South Pacific, and last year the plane was found 80 years later. Both Lieutenant Ramsey and Sergeant Ciara were declared at least killed in action or at least missing in action. To this point, I believe they think that the remains in the plane are probably Lieutenant Ramsey's, but this brought back possibly a piece to the puzzle, the story for the family, and the appropriateness of this co-naming, I think, is we're now reaching an era where we're not going to have many, if any, living World War II veterans left, and this is a proud son of Brooklyn who fought for this country and gave his life in the Second World War, and so I felt that this is something that the community should weigh in on and see, and I spent the last few weeks trying to connect with as many of the Ciara family members as possible. I don't think we got to speak on the phone, but your cousin and also John, who is Charlie's Sergeant Ciara's younger brother, who lives in Florida. We spoke extensively on the phone about the story. I also talked to Louis, and I also spoke to Paul. And so I'd like to invite Detective Ciara up here to say a few words, to speak on the proposal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I won't take up too much of your time. My name is Bill Ciara. I'm a detective here in Brooklyn. I've been here for close to 35 years working in this borough. I don't know too much about, he would be a second cousin to me, and obviously never met him. We learned about what had happened to him not too long ago, believe it or not. I mean, we're talking about World War II. He was shot down sometime like 1944, 1945. I believe it was in New Guinea where he was shot down. We thought, most of our family thought he was gone. He was considered at that point either KIA or MIA. We found out recently that his plane was actually discovered, amazingly enough, in the deep woods in New Guinea. And they did not find his DNA. They found the DNA of the lieutenants. So we were still kind of, apparently later on they found some books that the Japanese had in their POW camps. And believe it or not, his name was one of the names that was inside that book. He was a POW for quite some time. We believe the cause of death might have been something like malaria or one of those things, but he actually died in a prison of war camp. My family was notified, not too long after that. I was asked by families of mine, a lot of my uncles and stuff are, up there in age, and they asked me to be here. Obviously, I'm working. I'm here in Brooklyn, so they figured I'd come down and speak on behalf of the family. I'm sure this would be a great honor for the family that's still living, and most of them didn't really even know Charlie. My middle name is Charlie. We have a lot of Charlies in my family, and but it would be a great honor, I'm sure. My whole family grew up here in Brooklyn, different areas in Brooklyn, Brownsville, East New York. My whole family's from Brooklyn. So for me, it's an honor. I never lived here in Brooklyn. I live on Staten Island now, but it would be an honor for my family and for Charlie and his remaining families to have the street renamed after him. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, both of you. And so, Detective Ciara and Legislative Director Olson, thank you guys very much. And so at this point, I'll open it up to questions from board members. And so I do have a question, but I'd first like to see if any other board members have questions. And so I'll go with Board Member Dennis, and then I have a question.
Okay, I'm reading from one of our resolutions to the street co-naming applications procedures that I believe are from last year. I might be wrong on the date of that. And it asks if 51% of households within a 1 block radius of the proposed street have signed a community petition of support for the co-naming, and I was wondering if we have seen that.
Sure. And so,
do you want to step up to the...
Sure. So let me just repeat the question for folks. And so Board Member Denise is asking a question about, like, per our procedures, could somebody speak? So Legislative Director Olson will ask you, like, were you able to get 51% of signatures in support of this?
We were not able to because this is very short notice. I'm happy to speak to that entire street and go door by door telling them this story. Yeah, I really wanted the family to be a part of this and for them to be for it before putting it in. And this came to Councilwoman Vernikoff's office through a veterans organization. I read the story, reached out to many family members, happy to speak to each and every one of the neighbors on the block to ensure that this happens. But due to time and logistics, I was not able to get there. And that's normally something that I actually have not seen that provision done a ton on some of these, and I would note that those are sort of guidelines for the co-naming process. Each community board does it, of course, a little bit differently.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And that was going to be my question as well. Do we have, yes, so I see Board Member Musa Hassoun, you have a question as well.
Thank you. My question is, are we aware of any other honors that the deceased has received in any other context, any namings, or is like a sponsorship named after them, just to get a full picture of if they've been honored in some other way? Thank you.
I'm aware of Purple Heart, and is there a memorial in New Guinea somewhere? I believe I saw.
There might be. That has not been confirmed.
Okay.
Nobody has went out there to see whether or not there's an actual memorial there or not. But I know there's no other street namings or anything else that actually, represents him and the sacrifices that he made in World War II.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering that question. And so, okay, so I see a question from Board Member Parker.
Yes.
Use the microphone.
Yes. Okay. Having some challenges over here, y'all. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing your story. My question is there a rationale around the choice of the location for the street naming, with it being East 12th Street?
Yeah, so the place he was born and raised and grew up in, and I believe his younger brother was born and lived there for a time too, is at 1592 East 12th Street. It's at Brooklyn, and so it's at that closest corner. On the under, it would be the co-name directional would be, it goes under the East 12th Street sign then, and so that's the rationale.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much for answering that. And so do I have any additional questions from board members? So I see a question from board member Alvarez and then board member Persson.
Yeah, just real quick, you mentioned co-naming. So the street will still be called East 12th Street, and then it will be co-named underneath the gentleman's name, correct? That's the intent?
Yeah, that's how they do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And so just repeating for the record that board member Alvarez's question was just that for in terms of co-naming, it would be East 12th, and then underneath it, it would have the name of Marine Sergeant Charlie J. Ciara. And then we got confirmation that, yes, that would be it. Board member Persson, you had a question?
Liz, do you still have that resolution up? What did it say about 51%? That we would be obliged to turn it down?
No, it's a guideline, and then there's also language that says that if the board, if the application doesn't meet all the criteria guidelines, but has a reason or has shown an effort, that the application could still be considered. It's a guideline, yeah. It's not a circuit breaker.
Thank you for that. Do we have any additional questions from board members? Okay, so seeing none, so then we do have a bunch of new faces here, and so I welcome you. And so for the new board members, let me explain what's going to happen here. And so what's going to happen is me as the chairperson, I'm going to make a motion. And so what this motion means is that I'm going to ask to the board members who are here about something to vote on. And so if another board member agrees, then this person will say second, and then that means this is the thing that we're going to vote on. And then for those people who agree, they will raise their hands, and then the secretary, Ms. Florencia Chang-Ajita, who's up here, she will mark the names of the people, and then I will then ask any people who are opposed and any people who are against it, if there are any, they would raise their hands. The secretary would mark that vote, and then I would also ask any abstentions, and then an abstention would be if someone feels that for whatever reason they don't feel like they have enough in order to vote on this item, then they would raise their hand, and then the secretary would take count of that vote. And then the next thing that I will ask is if anyone is ineligible, and for someone to be ineligible would be if you had some sort of conflict of interest that would prevent you from voting on this on this item. And so I know I threw a lot at you, but this is so that you understand, you know, when I put the motion out, this is what people understand, okay? And so given the dialogue that we had here, do I have a motion to support the recommendation of co-naming 1592 East 12th Street? Was it? Okay, thank you. Okay, so then you heard the motion to support and the seconded. So now what this means is I'm now going to say, all those in favor of the co-naming, please raise your hand. Okay. That's true, but I already made that mark. So that'll be something for me to learn next time, Board Member Nuremberg. Thank you. So now, so let me go to the opposite. So board members opposed, please raise your hands. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Do I have any board members ineligible to vote? Do I have any board members who are abstaining from voting? Okay, so seeing none, that recommendation carries, it passes. And so for Detective Ciara and Legislative Director Olson, what this means is that in our general board meeting, and then you gentlemen are free to stay or go to your other stuff, but basically in our general board meeting, I will recap the outcome of that public hearing, and then that is when the full board will vote, and then the recommendation, the outcome of that vote, that will then be shared with Councilmember Werner Koff's office. So thank you gentlemen very much for coming and sharing. So that takes us to the next one. Okay, so now I'm going right to the next public hearing. And so this second public hearing is called to order on May 12th, 2025 at 6:48 p.m. at the East Midwood Jewish Center, located at 1625 Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn. And so the purpose of this hearing is to hear public testimony with respect to an application submitted by Animo CBD LLC for an adult use retail dispensary license at 2180 Clarendon Road. So the Community Board 14 office received notification on April 14th, 2025, and the state of New York allows 30 days should the board wish to express an opinion to the Cannabis Control Board. For this application, we have received an extension to hear the matter this evening. So if members of the public wish to testify on this issue, please register for time by signing up at the back table with Sarah. Please state clearly for the record your name and whether you are a resident of CB14 or representing an organization. And so remind me again, the individuals who are speaking on behalf of Animo. So is it Mr. Hidalgo? Mr. Yadiel? Okay, Yadiel Hidalgo? Okay, thank you very much for that correction. I appreciate that. So you are first up to speak, so please come to the podium.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. My name is Yadiel Boltron Hidalgo, but you could call me Yadi for short. And I'm the owner of Animo CBD LLC, a proposed adult use cannabis dispensary at 2180 Clarendon Road. Animo is a Spanish word that is meant to uplift, encourage, and to give strength. And that's exactly our mission. We want to offer safe, legal, and compliant cannabis products that support wellness and cannabis education in our community. This isn't just a business for me, it's a continuation of a family legacy. My parents have owned small businesses from beauty salons, barbershops, and bodegas across Flatbush, Cartelli Road, and now Clarendon over the span of 25 years. We built trust here in this neighborhood. That foundation is what drives me to now take the next step and contribute in a new way. It would be a dream come true for me. We plan to convert our current beauty salon into a fully compliant dispensary with hours from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and will follow all state regulations, including strict ID checks, inventory tracking, and trained staff. Security is also a top priority. There will be 24/7 surveillance and on-site security as well for compliance. Our goal is to create a positive, safe, and a respectful presence in the neighborhood by hiring locally, which will create job opportunities and tax revenue as well. I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, Mr. Yadiel Hidalgo, I know you told us we could call you that, but it just feels more, respectful to do that. Thank you very much for that. And so, board members, are there any board members who have any questions? So I see Board Member Alfonso. Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing?
As somebody that lives on Clarendon myself, and I'm familiar with the beauty salon that's there.
Yes.
My question is, why are you making the choice to convert it from a beauty salon to a dispensary? I think about the women that do the hair there and, provide a living for their family, what's going to happen to them? And also in comparison to Brooklyn Exotic that's already down the block, why bring another dispensary when they're popping up all over the place? And me personally, I would like to see something other than a dispensary because we have so many popping up, and so why the decision to go from this kind of entity towards this?
Okay, no problem. Thank you for that question. My mom, she's still going to be able to operate her beauty salon in the same area. So it's a family business. So it's something that we already discussed prior. And we've been in the community for a very long time, from barbershops to bodegas to beauty salons. So she also has another one in 1789 Flatbush, which is closer to Kings Plaza. So her customers and everyone is still not going to go anywhere. And I know that there is the Brooklyn Exotic one. They're across the street from the King's Theater. There is some distance, and we already been cleared by OCM as well. And in terms of, I know that there's more popping up in the area, but you still need them. Instead of having illegal smoke shops, you would want to have somewhere that they could get verified, compliant products, and not whatever they're selling out there.
Thank you very much for that question and that answer. Do I have any additional questions from board members? So I do have a question myself. So you just answered the the question about the location of BK Exotic, because I had a question about you meeting that 1,000-foot barrier. So you said OCM told you that you guys met that threshold?
Yeah, OCM said that we met all requirements in terms of churches, schools, and the distance with the other dispensaries, because there's Brooklyn Exotic across the street from the King's Theater, and then there's Brooklyn Born on Church Avenue as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only two.
Okay. And then the church thing is also great because there's that Emmaus like Adventist church right on the opposite side of
Yeah,
Flatbush.
I'm familiar.
So
Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys were within that 200-foot threshold or not. So you
Yes.
told me OCM validated that you are. Okay. I see a question from board member Prasant, and then the individual behind Barden. I'll get to you, Kashif, after Barden. So board member Prasant, you're up.
Just on the assumption that you yourself have not had experience running this kind of establishment before, I assume you brought on a manager, say, who does have experience in this field?
Well, we started as a CBD company in terms of shipping, offering local delivery for CBD, and we also obtained that license through OCM as well. So we do have experience, running this type of business. Now it will be a transition over to the adult use side, and I've been helping my parents run operations for their businesses for years now.
Okay. And then make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Do I pronounce it Kashif? Kashif? Okay, sorry about that. Yes, so Kashif, you have a question. Yes.
Just wanted to ask you, have you done a survey on, in terms of customer base? Like, is there a need in the neighborhood, or is this the passion that is you're opening up, or there is this?
It's a mixture of passion and it's also customer base, because I know that there are others opening up, but two is still not enough in the area. You know, when there's 20 to 30, 40 illegal smoke shops, you still need the verified ones where you could get, tested products and legit products and not, random products on the street.
Thank you for that. Are there any additional questions from board members regarding this? Okay. Oh, yes, board member Nuremberg.
Why should we even promote smoking altogether? It's unhealthy, dangerous for people, and it attracts children and should not be in these places. I don't care, security, not security, full of farce. I personally think it's return immediately.
Thank you very much for stating your preference and your feelings on that, board member Nuremberg. I appreciate that. Do we have any other questions or comments from board members regarding this application before us? Do you have another one, board member Alfonso, or?
Was there like an alternative to the dispensary? Like you were gonna close down the beauty salon and do something else, or it was always this dispensary?
Well, we've been waiting for the license for about a year and a half or two, and it was a topic that I discussed with my family, with my stepfather and my mom, and with the landlord as well. So the beauty salon is still going to be there as well. It's something that we're doing on the build-out side. So she's going to actually be next door. So there's going to be the dispensary, and then the beauty salon would be next door as well. And the local businesses in the area, we all know them for years. We've been a part of the community for a very long time, and we know all the other business owners and landlords in the area.
So follow-up question. So,
Yep.
because I know next to the beauty salon is a Chinese restaurant and then there's a barbershop.
Yes.
So you're talking about taking over the 21,000 square foot open space that's there?
Well, with the landlord, we have a build-out plan that we're going to be discussing. So the Chinese food restaurant there, it's family with the landlord.
I'm just trying to envision
Yeah.
what this build-out would look like.
That's not the focus of this hearing.
No, I got it.
It's not occupied, so what I'm trying to find out is, are you taking the old Family Dollar, old Flatbush Marketplace, or could you give a little bit more detail as far as what this build-out would look like?
Okay, so for the build-out, there's the beauty salon, there's the Chinese food restaurant, and the nail salon there. So I already spoke to the landlord prior, so we're actually going to have a full build-out of the dispensary there and the beauty salon. And I don't know if I could talk about this or not, but the nail salon, the owner is going to retire soon.
So thank you for that. And so what I want to do to tie this all together before coming to a motion, I want to confirm. So this application is for 2180 Clarendon Road. So are you saying that if OCM approves this, that the dispensary that you are applying for would be, the adult use dispensary that you're applying for would be located at 2180 Clarendon Road?
Yes, correct.
So then, okay. Okay, got it. So I'll take one more question for Board Member Parker, and then I'll ask for a motion.
My question is around the location too.
Yes.
I might have misheard, but I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
You said that the beauty salon that's there now.
Yes.
The build out would have them co-located, the dispensary and the beauty
No.
salon, or can you clarify that, please?
Yes, so the beauty salon would be, it's going to be relocated next door,
A
right?
different address.
So a different address, and then it would only solely operate as a dispensary for that location.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. And so, given that discussion, I'm going to put a motion, and then just to recap for the new board members, right? Going to put the motion out there. If the motion gets seconded, then that's the item that we're going to vote on. All those who are in favor, they will raise their hands. All those who are opposed will raise their hands. When I ask people if they're ineligible, a board member would be ineligible if they have some sort of conflict of interest that would negate them from voting on the specific matter. And then when I say, do any board members abstain, if there's any board members who for whatever reason feel they don't have enough info or whatever to vote, then they would choose to abstain. So I know you're coming into this stuff, so that's what's happening. Yes.
Just a question about the nature of the vote. So, just for my own reminder, because I haven't voted on one of these in a minute. We are voting to, we base our vote on the appropriateness of the location that is being proposed today. We're not basing it based on a floor plan or what the existing business is or what it's being replaced with. Or can you just give clarification on the things we should be considering and should not be considering when we're deciding? Thank you.
Yes, and so what Board Member Musa is talking about is that what we do is when we vote on cannabis applications, we do two things. We vote on the location, and we also vote on the applicant. And so what's going to happen here is that when I make my motion, my first motion is going to be on the location, and then my second motion is going to be on the applicant. And that's what we do, because we've had situations where we as a community board were fine with the applicant, we were not fine with the location, and then we've had the vice versa, and there's sometimes where we've been fine with neither, right? And we've been good with both. And so that's the distinction. And so Board Member Hussoon, thank you very much for that point of clarity, because that is important. Okay, and so I'm going to make a motion, and so my motion is this. Do I have a motion to deny the adult use retail cannabis dispensary?
No, you make the motion to approve it, and then you can ask for the negative votes first if you assume they're going to be fewer. It's a motion to approve.
Is it?
Yeah, Brian was suggesting that you ask for the votes that are against that motion first, because that's usually a smaller number. But
Okay.
you should make the motion to approve.
Okay, got it. So thank you for that. Okay, so then let me rephrase that. So then the question I have is this: do I have a motion to approve the adult use retail dispensary application at 2180 Clarendon Road based on location? Seconded? Okay. So then what this means is we are now voting as a board on if we approve this application based on the location. And so all those in favor of voting yes for this application based on the location at 2180 Clarendon Road, please raise your hand.
All in favor?
All in favor, yes.
This should go to voice. This should be a roll call vote, because it's going to be close.
Yeah, it's going to be tight.
Sorry, Florence, yeah, you got work to do.
All right, so we'll do this again. We'll do a roll call vote. All right. So once again, the motion is to approve this application based on the location.
Okay.
Shabir Ahmad. And can you,
So that's no.
So that's a no for us, yeah. Yep.
Oppose.
Wahil Ahmed. Carissa Alfonso.
No.
Gregory Alvarez.
Yes.
Hindi Bendel. Benjamin Bendet. Davina Bolanot. Christopher Bromson.
Yes.
Carl and Henry Cesar.
Yes.
Florencia Changajita, oppose. Yvette Claire-Jean.
Yes.
Elizabeth Dennis.
Yes.
Lisa Derrick. Joseph Dweck. Rosin Ford.
No.
Gerald Gray.
Yes.
Suzanne Hargett. Musa Hassoun.
Yes.
Ian Haynes, sorry. Mordecai Husarski. Kasif Hussain. Nautica Johnson. Erica Phillips Jones. Kirsty Jatila.
Yes.
Shahid Khan.
No.
Nicole Lebenson Angulo.
Absent.
Alex Lesman.
Yes.
Donna Loggins.
Yes.
Sasha Masluski.
Yes.
Melissa Minnick.
Yes.
Ephraim Nierenberg. Asma Nusi. Eric Ost. Ornella Parker.
Oppose.
Nora Pena. Susan Phillip.
Abstain.
Svi Plotska.
No.
Barden Prasant.
Yes.
Baza Ruhi.
No.
Nina Sebger.
Yes.
Joel Siegel. Gail L. Smith.
Yes.
Alexa Summers.
No.
Tova Svenberg.
Abstain.
Rolanda Telesford Hastic.
Abstain.
Abraham Treff. Deborah Valentin.
No.
Dawn Marie Walker.
No.
Alana Wilson. So, four.
The motion doesn't carry. The motion won't carry. Yeah.
The motion doesn't carry.
Okay.
Information. My understanding from the city charter is that when community boards act according to section 2801, action of community board meeting, just noting this because there are so many abstentions, that decisions are made by the majority of the members present to entitled to vote during the presence of a quorum level. That abstentions actually count as no, and I just wanted that to be
Yes.
set out to everyone, especially new board members, because that's not typically how this works, because the charter kind of overrides Robert's rules in this regard.
We already said that, Liz. The motion does not carry
No, I
because,
understand. I just
because
wanted
the votes in favor have to be the majority of votes in the
No,
room,
I understand.
is
I
another way
wanted
of putting
to
it.
understand that if they didn't know, that's what abstentions mean, because we haven't really discussed that with these three. Sorry.
Understood.
That was confusing. That surprised me when I was a new member, so I thought I'd share.
Understood. Thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
No, definitely, and thank you very much for that. And so that's something that, so for the new board members, like, I'm saying this as well, and I'll be saying this in the general board meeting coming up right after this too. We have a new board member orientation that's part of our executive committee meeting on May 29th. And so I highly urge all of you to come because that's one of the things that we'll be talking about. And in addition to processes and procedures, there's very important things regarding Robert's Rules of Order and what a vote means in certain situations. And so, yes, both things that were said were true. And then that'll be one of the things that we'll discuss among other things as well. So I thank you for that. And so, Mr. Yadiel Hidalgo, what this means is that for the purposes of this public hearing, the community board has said no to the proposed application at 2180. So the general board meeting that's coming up next, then I will share that recommendation with the board, and then the outcome of that vote. Oh, that's true. So I have one more vote. Yeah, so we did the location. We still have another vote to do on the applicant. And then basically both those things I'll put to the board in the general board meeting. And then that's the stuff that we will be sharing with OCM. Okay. So now we have a second vote that's coming up.
And you're welcome to stay there, or you're also welcome to sit down if you'd be more comfortable.
Yeah, so
Sorry, I can say it.
Okay, cool, no problem. So now the second motion on the floor is, do you have a point of clarity, board members?
You can put that motion on the floor, Barton.
I just want a point of order.
Is it required? Right now, a letter would go to OCM stating there was a motion to approve. The motion failed failed in the vote because, and then we always tell them what the vote numbers were. And that's how it would be reported. If the board members feel that having clarity on whether or not a motion to disapprove might have a different outcome, and then we can do a limbo report, that is available to board members who would like to make the motion.
Motion to disapprove.
Roll call vote.
Point of clarity, can we make sure that?
It has to be seconded.
Yeah, well, it has to be seconded. Yeah, I was about to say, you jumped
What's
up.
the motion?
But yeah, can we clarify the motion so that everybody knows what it?
Sure, yeah, so board member Denise, what is the motion that you have on the floor right now?
To disapprove based on the location.
Okay, so we have a motion to disapprove based on the location. And so do I have a second?
Wait, they did location before, though.
No, it's a disapproval. They want it to be
They
Yep.
want approve and disapprove.
disapproved.
Yeah. Sure. So board member Prasad, could you please restate?
No, it isn't his
It
motion.
wasn't his.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's Liz's
Oh, yeah.
motion.
So so board member Denise put a motion on the floor to disapprove based on location, all right? And, okay, motion seconded? All right. So it's been seconded.
Clarifying question.
Yes.
So, now, basically, if I vote yes on a motion to disapprove, that means I want to disapprove it. If I vote no on a motion to disapprove, that means I want to approve it. In other words, I'm in
Yeah.
favor of the-
Yes.
That is so weird.
Double negatives are hard.
Yeah. Yeah, so it did flip the vote, yes. So now what we have on the floor,
Can we just get a breakdown of who disapproved or abstained?
from the prior vote? Okay,
The no votes
Sure.
on the approval, 5, 10, 14 people voted no to approve. 5, 10, 15, 16 people voted yes to approve, and 8 people abstained. Madam Secretary, does that match your numbers?
It
Okay.
does.
you're very welcome. And so now what we're doing is we are voting to disapprove, okay? And so what this means, just to remember, folks, because we're voting to disapprove based on location, right? If you say yes, it's like, yes, you agree the location is not sufficient. If you say no, then this means that you believe the location is sufficient.
It's a different.
It's a different,
yeah.
yep.
It's an affirmative disapproval. The motions are on the floor, we have to
Yep.
go through the process, so.
Motion to take the motion off the floor.
Don't second that. That's us preference.
No.
Excuse me, I have an offense that somebody speaks in the audience here on the board, but the master cannot get emotions. I request the master remove more emotions.
That's not.
Board Member Efraim, Board Member Nuremberg, Board Member Nuremberg, Board Member Nuremberg, I'm asking you politely, Board Member Nuremberg, no, I'm asking you to politely reconsider how you said that. So, understood, but there's a way, I'm asking you to politely phrase that because there's a way to do that without going at someone's personal preference. And so there's a way you could have restated that to just say, I would like that person to speak louder, or maybe we bring a mic, but I do not appreciate the way in which you said that. So I'm just telling you that. So people can speak louder, we can support them, but please, the next time, like whatever you're gonna say, please try not to, you know, someone's personal preference in terms of that. So then, thank you. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor again, right? We have a motion on the floor. The motion on the floor is to disapprove the location. And so if you're voting yes, this means the location is no good. If you're voting no, you're saying the location is good. If you are ineligible, you have some sort of competing interest. And if you abstain, it's because for whatever reason, you feel that you can't vote. Okay. And so here we go. We're going to do, Secretary, can you please do the roll call vote?
Okay, so whenever I call your name, if you're disapproving, it will be a yes, and if you are approving, it will be a no. Okay. Shabir Ahmad? So, yes, okay. Wahil Ahmed? Carissa Alfonso? Yes. Gregory Alvarez? No. Hindi Bendel? Yes. Benjamin Bendet?
Yes.
Davina Bolanot?
Yes.
Christopher Brumson? No. Carl Henry Cesar?
No.
Florencia Changajita, yes. Yvette Claire Jean?
No.
Elizabeth Dennis?
No.
Lisa Derrick?
Point of order. By abstaining, it means that you are approving, right?
No, abstaining means you're not voting on it in the affirmative or in the negative. You just either don't have enough information or don't feel qualified to cast a vote.
But then
So,
But then it's effectively a yes.
yeah, it will be a yes.
Effectively, it's a no.
So you're saying,
The motion will only carry if the yeses are in the majority of the number of people in the room.
But then all the abstains from this is going to be.
So,
Where are we?
point of order for clarity.
yes.
So abstention in this case works as a no?
An abstention is abstention. It's only when the final tally is done, right?
Okay,
So
all right.
the bottom line is that, yes, the number of yeses has to be the majority in order to carry that, right?
Gotcha. Okay. Joseph Dweck. Rosin Ford.
Abstain.
Gerald Gray. Suzanne Hargett. Musa Hassoun.
No.
Ian Haynes. Mordecai Osarski. Kashif Hussein. Nautica Johnson. Erica Phillips Jones. Christy Jatila.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'll get it eventually. Shahid Khan. Nicole Lebenson Angulo. Alex Lesman. Donald Loggins. Sasha Maslewski. Melissa Minnick. Ephraim Nierenberg. Asma Nuzi. Eric Ost. Ornella Parker.
Yes.
Nora Pena. Suzanne Phillip.
Abstain.
Zvi Plotska. Barden Prasant. Baza Ruhi. Nina Sepger. Joel Siegel. Gail L. Smith.
No.
Alexa Summers. Tova Svenberg. Rolanda Telesford Hastic. Abraham Treff. Deborah Valentin.
Yes.
Dawn Marie Walker.
Yes.
Alana Wilson.
Motion does not carry.
Okay.
Point of order? Oh, wait.
Okay.
Motion didn't officially not carry.
Sure. Got it. So the vote is final. The motion did not carry.
Point of order?
Wait.
Point of order, yes.
Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but we effectively wasted our time by going backwards. We do
Can I
the first
speak to that?
vote again, and then let's just move forward with whatever it is.
You can do that. Otherwise, what goes to OCM is a letter saying that this is an application that was a bit controversial within the board. The first motion was to approve. This is the outcome of that vote. The second motion was to disapprove. This is the outcome of that vote. Therefore, the recommendation from CB14 is therefore inconclusive. Or you can try to get to a conclusion by running through a series of votes if you wanted to do that. Again, that is the board's prerogative.
Board Member Smith?
Yeah.
Just for my clarification.
Mhm.
When the first vote, it was how, I thought it was at 14 no, 16 yes, 8 abstain. Correct. But then I got a little fuzzy in reference to the abstain part, 'cause it seems like the abstain carried to the no vote. So does that mean that it's going to carry?
Yes. Want me to do that?
Yeah. Yes, it will. And here's some.
So again, I was getting a little picky about how we describe the abstentions because they do operate against an affirmative vote, but I don't want them characterized as a negative vote because an abstention is an abstention. No means no when I mean it. Abstention means I'm undecided. But yes, the impact of that is in order for a vote to carry, it needs a majority of affirmative votes. So this is the breakdown that you've asked for. The motion to disapprove, and Madam Secretary, correct me if I miscounted, but my records show the motion to disapprove, the people who wanted to disapprove, affirmative votes in that, was 17.
17 yes.
The no votes, 16.
16 yes.
And the abstentions were 5.
Yes.
So there were 21 people who did not vote in the affirmative and 17 people who voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the motion did not carry because 17 is less than 25. On the approval, did you want that recap, the original vote? Okay. That was disapproval? The approval votes were the following. Those who approved the affirmative votes on approving this application, the number is 16. The votes to not approve, 14. And the abstentions equaled 8.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the letter to OCM can go out as I described, or there can be another motion on the floor.
Yep. So I have a point. I see Board Member Siegel, then I have something. Yep. 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 Mhm. So I agree with that. And so then what I'm going to say is that as chairperson, what I'm advocating for is that when we send a letter to OCM, we'll say that on the basis of location, we had 2 board votes, and these were the outcomes of both board votes. And then the last piece regarding this public hearing, and Mr. Hidalgo, I thank you for your time and your patience as well.
Thank you.
So we do have one more about the applicant, all right? And so I'm putting a motion on the floor. Yeah, so I'm putting a motion on the floor that do we support I'm trying to think, what's the best language for me? A motion to approve the applicant for the adult use retail cannabis shop at 2180 Clarendon Road. Okay.
Point of clarity.
Yes.
At 2180, but just the applicant.
Yes, you're right, correction.
Should he find another location?
Yes.
Or to the liking of the board?
That's very true, so thank you for that, yes.
So just the applicant removing.
Just the applicant removing the address, yes, correct.
Can we restate the motion?
Yes, I can. And so do I have a motion to approve the applicant?
So moved.
Okay, great.
Let's try this with a show of hands.
Okay, so then let me start from backwards then. All those opposed to the applicant, please raise your hand. All right, so I have 2. All right, I have 2. All those ineligible to vote. Okay. All those abstaining. All right. So I have okay. All right, so all those in favor of the applicant. Okay, got it. So the motion carries.
Sorry, was there no vote?
Sure. Yes, no problem, go.
28, approve of the applicant. 2 disapprove, said no on the approval, and 10 abstentions.
Thank you for that. Yes,
28, 10-2.
you're welcome. And so that concludes the second public hearing in regards to the cannabis application for Animo at 2180 Clarendon Road. And so,
I'm so sorry.
yep. So now this takes us right into the general board meeting, which we are starting at 7:25 p.m. under the applicable statutes of New York State, the Charter of New York City, the board's bylaws, and Robert's Rules of Order. So the board's policy is to encourage detailed public discussion of matters before the board at our committee meetings and at public hearings. Consequently, except by board members, there will be no public discussion at our regular monthly meetings of matters about which a public hearing or committee meeting has been held. Specific service delivery requests or complaints should be brought to the attention of the district office staff by calling the board office during regular business hours or by visiting our website anytime. And other matters of civic interest may be brought before the board during our scheduled public comment period, which will begin tonight after all other business on the board's monthly meeting agenda has been concluded. So no partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises will be heard, and persons wishing to speak during the public comment period were asked to pre-register. And so, Secretary, could you please do the roll call?
So, good evening again, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Shabir Ahmad. Wahil Ahmed. Carissa Alfonso. Gregory Alvarez. Hindi Bendel. Benjamin Bendet. Davina Bolanot. Christopher Bromson. Carl Henry Cesar.
Present.
Florencia Changajita present. Yvette Claire Jean. Elizabeth Dennis. Lisa Derrick. Joseph Dweck. Rosen Ford. Gerald Gray. Susan Argett. Musa Hassoun. Ian Haynes. Mordecai Husarski. Kashif Hussein. Nautica Johnson. Erica Phillips Jones. Kirsty Jatila. Shahid Khan. Nicole Levinson Angulo. Alex Lesman. Donald Loggins. Sasha Masluski. Melissa Minnick. Ephraim Nierenberg. Asma Nuzi. Eric Ost. Ornella Parker.
Present.
Nora Pena. Susan Phillip. Svi Plotska. Barden Prasant. Baza Ruhi. Nina Sabgir. Joel Siegel. Gail L. Smith. Alexa Summers. Tova Svenberg. Rolanda Telsford Hastic. Abraham Treff. Deborah Valentin. Dawn Marie Walker. Alana Wilson. No, we did have a quorum. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much for confirming the quorum, Secretary. So next item is on to the minutes. And so did we receive any proposed changes to the April 2025 minutes by email?
No, we don't.
Do we have any proposed changes to the April 2025 minutes from the floor? So seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the April 2025 General Board meeting?
Motion.
Okay, all right. Excellent. So are any board members opposed? Any ineligible? Any abstaining? Okay, so the motion carries. So next up, we have the district manager's report.
Oh, boy. Welcome, new members. Looking forward to working with you all. I don't want to steal any of the chair's thunder, so I'll leave it at that for now. But we're all, always available for any questions in the office, and we've got some really fun meetings coming up. So be in touch, and we'll see you certainly at the executive committee meeting at the end of the month. I want to thank staff, Sarah Skla and Patricia Olander. I mean, always. I want to thank them always because they do the heavy lifting in the office. But especially, I was out for a couple of weeks, and they really held down the fort and did the extra, and so thank you to both of them. I'm also really fortunate to have, they're not even in the room, but I've been working, with our community partners in the elected officials office, and it's been really busy lately. So Troy is here, so I want to thank him because we've been on the phone a lot more than usual. Abraham Malachowski, always a pleasure, and I know I've been keeping you busy, so thank you for always being responsive. I don't know if Brian Grady is here, so I have to say nice things behind his back. Don't tell him. But it's just been busy with the council members' offices, and you guys always step up and respond so quickly and are always helpful and get us to a resolution on a lot of the stickier matters in the district, and there's a lot of them. And Nancy Lulu is not here, is that true? Nancy's always here, so I'll thank her privately, but she's also helped with a sort of unusual issue and really went the extra mile, making phone calls and seeing something through to the very end, and it ended up being a positive ending. You'll hear more on this later too, but I'm really looking forward to the nonprofit roundtable next week. And just want to note that as we get closer to the FY26 city budget, here's a fun fact. $1 in $5 of the, multi-billion-dollar budget, $1 in $5 is to pay a contract, and that includes our human service providers. So we're really looking forward to gathering with them. Our keynote this year is somebody who will be familiar to many of you, but from the mayor's nonprofit services. So those contractors, taking those contracts to serve our community, we'll have some, firsthand networking with the office that's going to help make sure that they get paid, hopefully expeditiously and smoothly. There's not a great history of that, and we're trying to move forward in a better way. Also, as we gear up for summer, there are a number of fun events. I'll see you all on the blocks and the streets of the district for a lot of good things going on. If you are planning a block party and you haven't applied for it yet, hurry up. Because you got 60 days, it has to be 60 days in advance, and we've gotten a few requests already for changing dates, and SAPL used to be friendlier about that, not so much anymore, so get your dates in there and get your parties planned. And you can check CECM or the SAPL website or call the office. If you're having an event that's other than a block party, the application has to be in different. Some of them are 60 days, some of them are 90 days, some of them are more. So be in touch with the office if you have questions about that, but we look forward to seeing you at your fun places. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, District Manager Campbell. And so for the chair's report, good evening, board members. So there's a couple things. So the first thing is that the fourth public hearing on SUNY Downstate Brooklyn, that took place on Monday, April 28th at Medgar Evers College, And so friendly reminder that the advisory board's deadline to submit its report was extended to June 1st. And so that was the last public hearing that I know of. And so I'm hoping that the advisory board is continuing to take the community feedback from the 4 public hearings and all the other meetings that we don't know about, but they should be reporting about, and then use that to make sure that they get great community feedback and they're using that to propose excellent high quality recommendations in the service of SUNY Downstate Brooklyn's future. So next up is that we had 2 public hearings. So the first one was a public hearing on co-naming 1592 East 12th Street in honor of World War II Marine Sergeant Charlie J. Ciara. So we heard from Legislative Director Troy Olson and Detective Brian Ciara, who spoke about the applicant and the application. The proposal is supported by the Marine Sergeant's family. The recommendation from that public hearing was to support the co-naming recommendation. And so do board members have any questions or comments regarding that summarization? So seeing none, do I have a motion for CB14 to approve that recommendation? Motion. Okay, thank you. So then, do I have any folks against the recommendation for the co-naming? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I got 3. Okay. Yeah, 3 no's.
Who's the other one?
Can the folks who said no please raise your hand so the secretary can see? Yeah, so you got. Okay, cool. Any folks ineligible to vote? Any folks abstaining? All right. So Florencia, Chuck.
2.
All right. All right. So you have 1 and you have 2. Okay. And then all those in favor, please raise your hands. All right, I got you. I got you too. Yeah, I got you too. All right, so the motion carries. So the second public hearing we had was on an application for retail cannabis dispensary at 2180 Clarendon Road. And so Mr. Yadiel Beltran Hidalgo presented on the application, the establishment, and then answered board member questions as well. So the first recommendation to approve the location did not carry. The second recommendation to disapprove the location also did not carry. And the recommendation to approve the applicant did carry. And so do I have a motion for CB14 to send a letter to OCM showing the outcome of both location votes and also the applicant vote? Okay, so any opposed to that? Any abstentions? Any ineligible? Okay, so that motion carries. So first thing too, for the new board members, you picked a good time to come. And so as you can see, folks, we do have some new faces in the room. And so I would like to give a warm round of applause to our new board members. So I mean this, we and myself, like the district office, all of us here, we are excited to have you here, and we look forward to your partnership, your curiosity, your empathy, and your engagement. All right? And so you see there's a lot of smart, wonderful people here. Don't hesitate to ask questions. You have the district office. We have an executive committee meeting on May 29th, and one of the first items on that agenda is new member orientation, so please come, okay? The other thing I have to note, unfortunately, is that this also means we do have some outgoing board members as well. So I would be remiss if I did not thank Edward Sen, Steve Cohen, Sabina Dorville, and Derek Donald. And so folks, give me a warm round of applause for them as well. And so for Sabina and Derek, they were both appointed to the community board in 2023. They were both extremely thoughtful individuals, and they served their committees well. Edward Sen was appointed in 2019, and some of the things that he had done while he was here, he was first vice chair, he was co-chair of the Community Environment, Cultural Affairs, and Economic Development Committee, and then at one point he had also served as co-chair of the Transportation Committee. And for Steve Cohen, he had been appointed in 2017. And so some of the things that he had done as well during his time on the board, he has served as a second vice chair, a member at large, a co-chair of the Transportation Committee, and also the Education, Libraries, and Cultural Affairs Committee. And in addition, he was on the Legal Committee, and he was the driving force as chair of an ad hoc bylaws review committee. And so for these four individuals, whether you're watching the live stream or not, I'm giving you a shout out. I thank you for your service, and whatever way you choose to serve the communities or community around you, I thank you and I wish them the best. And so, yeah. And so as for the Brooklyn Borough Board, so that meeting took place last Tuesday, May 6th. The main updates were that community application decisions are complete and they should have gone out. And so if folks have not received their notification, definitely contact Brooklyn Borough Hall about that. The second thing is there was a presentation on the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund. And so they presented on a few things, what they do. And so basically, it provides compensation to individuals or a personal representative of a deceased individual who was present at an eligible location during identified timeframes who have been diagnosed with a 9/11 related illness. And so those timeframes are the World Trade Center or the surrounding VCF NYC exposure zone, and that was determined legislatively between September 11th of 2001 and November 19th of 2001. The Pentagon site between September 11th, 2001 and November 19th, 2001, and then the Shanksville, Pennsylvania site between September 11th, 2001 and October 3rd, 2001. So in addition, they gave a brief synopsis of its history. One of the most critical points they stated was that this program is separate from the World Trade Center Health Program. So the World Trade Center Health Program is run out of the CDC, and that provides health care. The VFC is strictly about compensation. So that was a very important distinction. And so after that, various Brooklyn Borough Board members asked questions about eligibility and other things. And so if folks are interested, I would definitely say go to the Borough President's YouTube page, because there's a recording of that May 6th meeting, and then get to the part when the VFC representative is talking, because you'll see a lot more information about that. Okay? And that concludes the chair's report. So now we are on to, yep. Ooh, that's a good point. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. So I was reminded of something. That's true. And so there's a lot of stuff happening in city government. So one of the things as well is Charter Revision Committee. And so you have two of them. You have a city council one that's happening, and you also have like the mayor's one that's happening. And so the mayor's group released their preliminary report, and then the city council also released their preliminary report as well. And so what I would say is, for folks who are interested, your search may have to be a bit more clever than just Charter Revision Commission, because you don't know which one you're going to get, but just know there's two of them. And if you go onto their respective websites, they do have dates for when they have public comment if folks want to testify. I went to one of them, and then I testified that I had some concerns with some of the proposals that they were saying for something. Specifically, there was a proposal about maybe combining community board and borough president process reviews and the EULA process. So I commented on that. What I'm going to tell folks is, when you do your research, if you do decide to testify, just clearly identify that, hey, you're on Community Board 14, but you're testifying as an individual, right? Like, that's all I can tell you. Like, if you choose to testify, just do that and you'll be fine, okay? I think that's the main thing,
Yeah,
really.
I'll just add to that by letting you know that we'll make your research a little easier by posting all of that on our website.
So you don't got to search yourself, all right? So now this takes us to the topical committees for report. Oh.
There was a question.
Oh, wait, was there a question? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot,
We'll put those
even
dates
better.
up. Yes, that's true. And we'll put the dates up on the website tomorrow, so you'll have all the information at your fingertips.
Okay, thank you for the heads up about that. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. And so next up, we have the topical committees for reports and items. And so first up, we're going to have Community Environment, Cultural Affairs and Economic Development, followed by the Human Services Committee.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Joel Siegel. Theoretically, I don't know if I'm the co-chair anymore because Ed Sen's not with me, so I'm all you get tonight.
Oh, man, the power.
The power. You know, what did Trump say? I'm now the head of the world.
Don't do it, Joel. Don't do it, Joel. Don't do it. Don't do it.
So anyway, something a little lighter fare than we.
Don't do it, Joel. Don't do it.
So anyway, we had two presenters at our April 22nd meeting. One, a very interesting woman who gave us an introduction to the Center for Brooklyn History. Dominique Jean-Louis is the chief historian at the Brooklyn Center for Brooklyn History. The center is located in the building many of you know as the Brooklyn Historical Society at the corner of Pierpont and Clinton downtown. Originally started as the Long Island Historical Society in 1863. It became the Brooklyn Historical Society in 1985. In 2020, it became part of the Brooklyn Public Library System, which itself was established in 1896. All the research and archival collections of the Historical Society are now accessible through the Brooklyn Public Library. Entry to the center is free. It's open 6 days a week. The center has a vast collection of Brooklyn history, and the center encourages visitors to use the facility regardless of whether one is doing research on Brooklyn history. The center runs a Brooklyn Connection program. They go out to schools to teach students research skills and to encourage interest in history and storytelling. They run continuing education programs for public school teachers and programs for the public, including a recent program on the first black fraternity. So this was very interesting. The second presenter to our meeting was Drasana Hughes she's the Brooklyn Borough Commissioner for the Department of Environmental Protection. She gave us a presentation on flooding, for a change. Believe it or not, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has reclassified New York City as humid subtropical, the same classification as Houston and Atlanta. And Ms. Hughes said, our infrastructure was not planned for a climate of Houston or Atlanta, and we are projected to have more intensive rain and sea rise. 60% of New York City, including CB14, has combined sewers, which means our wastewater and stormwater goes to the same place, our sewer system. So during intense storms, there could be backups that include wastewater. Ms. Hughes said our sewers work in 98% of the rain events, but of course there's always that 2%. To mitigate flooding, there are a number of programs going on. There's a 10-year capital $8.2 billion plan for sewer upgrades. The DEP is promoting green infrastructure such as rain gardens to absorb water before it reaches the sewer. They're laying porous pavement, which absorbs water, and some of that is in our district. There are flood centers in areas vulnerable to high tide, storm surges, and stormwater runoff to relay life-saving information. And there's a new United Stormwater Rule for new and redeveloped properties who are required to have green infrastructure for management of stormwater. If you're interested in ways to protect your home from flooding, you can see Ms. Hughes' presentation on YouTube. There are recommendations for converted basements, for rerouting downspouts, rain barrels, flood sensors, flood barriers, and sump pumps. She encouraged everyone to have flood insurance if you own a home with a sewer backup rider. If you might want to look at your policy to look at that. And she says, don't flush things like wipes down the toilet. And she says, wait to use water during heavy rain because you're running loads of laundry or other water-using items, you're going to just add to the problem. So during heavy rain, you know, don't shower. Don't go out.
I don't think she said not to shower.
That's it. You got a question? I never get a question.
She did not say not to shower.
Your traps. Always, you know, the legendary Al, I hired the legendary Al Ubell. Anybody you know Al Ubell? Okay, you pushing me off stage?
Well, no, it's more like you're getting into that dangerous territory of like making a recommendation.
You gotta clean your traps.
Yeah, thank you so much. So quick thing, Yvette, just before you speak, there's a couple people I want to recognize here. So in no order, Ellie Slavin from Congresswoman Clark's office. So thank you very much for being here. We have Abraham Malachowski from Councilwoman Farrah Lewis's office. So thank you very much as well. Right? And then I know I saw a couple of people, Mary Kay Siri. I saw you. Okay, there you are. Yeah. I see Mary Kay Siri there. I know we have Portia Edwards as well from Senator Myrie's office. So thank you very much. And then I'm trying to see. And then Venus Scantleberry from the CCRB. Ah, there you are. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Got it. So now we are up to the Human Services Committee. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Nina Sabgir and Yvette Claire Jean. We are the co-chairs for Health and Human Services for CB14, and we have a very, very exciting event coming up on May 21st. Okay, I've got so many things on my schedule. I'm having a little trouble keeping them all straight, but I will be there for that, so I do have that noted. It's going to be held at OHL Children's Homes and Family Services in their center. They are very graciously hosting us. It will be an event in which there will be people coming in from all kinds of nonprofits, not strictly only in CB14, but the surrounding communities as well. And they will be letting us all know about the various kinds of services that they have to offer. And I'll let you take it from there.
And we are very fortunate in our community board to have many nonprofits providing critical services. This year we'll have a wonderful keynote speaker, Michael Sedilio, who is the executive director of the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit Services. MONS, they work to strengthen the city's relationships with its nonprofit partners who are key collaborators in delivering services that so many of us rely on. So at our 13th annual nonprofit roundtable, it'll be an opportunity for the various nonprofits in Brooklyn and specifically who work in our community board to gather, share resources, and to hear a keynote from Mr. Sedilio. In his role, he focuses on working with nonprofit organizations to strengthen their delivery services, address any barriers that they have to effective operations and helping to support them and making sure that they're very impactful in New York City. So if any community board members plan to join us next Wednesday on the 21st, please let the office know, and we would be very happy to see you.
Thank you folks very much. So next up we have community safety, followed by transportation. And while we're waiting for either of those committees to come up, let me give a shout out as well to Emily Joachim from Assemblymember Rodney's Bichot Hummerlin's office as well. So thank you very much for coming.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We have no new news to report. However, we would like to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. We would like Memorial Day is coming up, so we'd just like to commemorate I would like to thank all the service members who gave their lives for us so that we could be free and live in this beautiful, beautiful country. And Shavuot is coming up, so happy almost Shavuot, and Eid is coming up, so Eid Mubarak.
One quick thing. So the precinct will be holding elections for
The community council?
Thank you, community council, for the community council slate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So next up we have Transportation Committee, followed by Housing and Land Use.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Deborah Valentine,
My name is Musa Hassoun.
and we had our last meeting on May 5th. What was your person name?
Sorry, I'm just excited because it's short season, so I'm just celebrating.
Yep. Okay, one of our guests, we had Anthony Drummond, who is the Assistant Director of Government and Community Relations with the Department of Transportation. And he gave us a recap of the different subway construction projects that's going on. Like, for instance, the installation of the elevators at Church Avenue on the the QMB line. And he says the elevators are already in. They should be finished the whole project by December 2025. And also, there's also some construction that's taking place on the F line from Cotillion Road down to Avenue I on McDonald Avenue. So just be aware of that.
We also had a presentation from the New York Public Transit Association. It's an organization that advocates on behalf of transit systems in New York State. They advocate on behalf of transit systems in New York City, obviously Watertown, Ithaca, Albany, and a few other metro areas. And they also advocate on behalf of transit manufacturers. So they emphasize that a lot of their advocacy focuses on making connections for folks to take transit to their employment or to get healthcare or to get their education. And one of the most consistent things they are advocating for typically is consistent state funding for different transit systems. They focus on some of the policy issues they focus on are, like I said, reliable state funding for capital and operational needs, taking action to address climate change, and establishing predictable support for a transition to zero-emission vehicles statewide. They're supported typically by membership dues, but they also run conferences and they get some income from there as well. They urged everyone to get involved in transit advocacy and to stay informed. One of the items that they spoke about specifically was trying to encourage more employers to pay for the transit passes that employees have to help encourage use of public transportation. I'm also not sure because we have new members here, I don't know if they've gotten their committee assignments yet, have they?
No, they haven't gotten that yet.
I'm going to make a little pitch here. The Transportation Committee is the hottest committee in town. We deal with all the best issues: bus networks, bike lanes, pedestrian safety, trains. If you ever had someone speed down the road and you got a complaint, you bring it here. We'll get someone to speak to you. So show up to the meeting or join a join the committee as members. Thank you.
So next up, we have housing and land use, followed by youth services, education, and libraries.
All right, good evening, everybody. Greg Alvarez, Melissa Minnick, co-chairs of the Housing and Land Use Committee. So I just have a few announcements before we mention our upcoming meeting, or Melissa's going to. Let's see, first off, Rent Guidelines Board. So they have issued their proposed rules and their proposed increases for rent stabilized apartments, and that's going to be effective for the October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2026 year. They do invite comments, so anyone who would like to provide their comments prior to their final decisions, you're free to do that on their website, rentguidelinesboard.cityofnewyork.us/testimony. That's the place you can go, and you have until June 17th for that. The other announcement I have is on April 29th, I had attended a meeting of the Landmarks Preservation Commission to speak about a proposed addition to our district of historic areas. So that would be the Beverly Square West and Ditmas Park West Historic District. Also in attendance, we had Joel Siegel and also Board Member Emeritus Glenn Wolin were present and certainly part of the lively discussion. Primarily, the discussion revolved around not so much the support for the district, which it seemed that was near universal. It was really about where the boundaries are going to be. There were discussions about expanding it further, and that was presented to the LPC. Their response was essentially that the boundaries that they had investigated and researched are the ones that they're going to go with as part of this process. We will see it coming to our board in the near future, I would think. So just keep that on your radar. And this all goes to, as well, the whole City of Yes amendments. But we can get more into that with the board members as we go along. So that's all I have for now. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa.
Well, we have a meeting coming up as well, just this next Monday. So our committee will be meeting from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Online, virtual. And so we are going to have a couple presentations. One is going to be from Allison Martinez. She's the director at Brooklyn Level Up, a community organization. And she's going to be presenting on Community Land Trust 101 training. So if you've ever wanted to know about community land trusts, this is where to show up and where to go. She'll be talking about the history, the purpose, how do they acquire land, case studies, what this would look like in New York, where it might seem a little impossible for community land trusts to happen. So pretty great presentation, and of course everything's recorded, so if you can't make that, maybe you're going to another city commission meeting instead. We'll have this posted online. But we'll also have speakers from the Landmarks Preservation Commission will actually be there, as well as our second presentation, and that'll be Lisa Krasavage, the executive director of the Preservation Commission, and Stephen Thompson, the director of Community and Intergovernmental Affairs. So they'll be there as well. And
bring your questions.
Yeah,
so we look
please
forward
do.
to you. Yes.
And just saying, we also have a pretty great committee. So if you
here we go.
If you don't want to join, make your decision. You can always just attend. Just attend. It's online. Easy.
No pressure, no pressure. So next up, we have the Youth Services, Education, Libraries Committee.
All right, everyone, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
So before I continue, a lot of people are in their phone. You guys are dazing off. It's that point in the meeting. This is the last topical announcement, so I need y'all with me. So that means the eyes are up, eyes are on Miss Parker. This is what I do during the day, so I'm waiting for y'all. There we go. I see smiles across your faces. Everyone's waking up. There we go. Yay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ornella Parker. I am one of the co-chairs for the Youth Services, Education, and Library Committee. It's a long name. I am a co-chair with Eric. Eric is not here today because he's being super dad, but you'll see him around at the other meetings. We had a meeting on April 29th at 6:30 via WebEx. We had 4 planned agenda items, but only 3 of them came through. Of those, the first was the Literacy Academy Collective. If you guys haven't heard of LAC, their focus and their mission is on breaking the cycle for literacy, specifically servicing dyslexia, language-based learning disabilities, or any struggling readers. So they actually opened up a school that serves grades 2nd to 8th in the South Bronx, and they're opening their second location in Central Brooklyn that will serve, yeah, right? Woo, woo, woo. Come on, y'all. There we go. Okay, we awake now. All right. That serves District 17, 20, 21, and 22, which kind of overlaps our specific district. They're taking applications right now until May 16th. So if you know anyone in our district who has students in grades 2 to 8 that are struggling readers, their entire school is focused on developing and breaking a literacy cycle, specifically around any disabilities such as dyslexia or any other language-based disabilities. So please, if you know anyone, if you have a child that falls in this category, don't hesitate to reach out, and then make sure you get your applications in. They suspect that the applications may be pushed a little longer, but don't wait. The 16th is coming up. So if you are interested in this, go ahead and make sure you guys apply. Again, that's the Literacy Academy Collective. That was our first. The next one didn't happen. That was around Mentor Promise. They were going to talk about some prom initiatives. Our third was we had our police officer, Michael Joseph, from speak about some youth initiatives. He wanted to see different ways that we can collaborate between NYPD and within our community board. So he asked for ideas. So if anyone in this board have any ideas of ways that we can collaborate with NYPD to increase their initiatives or any kind of programs with our youth, please do not hesitate to share with myself or simply reach out to the district office if you have ideas as well. The last and very dear to me, you know how everybody's here pitching their committee to you guys? They clearly have us go last for a reason. We have the biggest event that happens, and this is not for debate, other committees might be side-eyeing, but we have the biggest event that happens across our entire community board. It is our yearly youth conference. That already happened back in March, right? Snap it up. Whoop, whoop. And honestly, what is true is that we're one of the only community boards that have a large-scale youth event in the entire Brooklyn, and actually I think across the entire city, but I can't quote on that one, but I know for Brooklyn for sure. So it is really major that this happens yearly. It happened already, unfortunately, for new members that passed back in March. But of course, being an amazing board that we are, we already started debriefing ways that we can continue to improve coming up for the new year cycle. Some things that came from that was around making sure we get really clear on like the purpose around what the youth conference is going to be and make sure whoever's attending is very clear on that. Think about ways we can promote differently. We're in a new world. So is it that we need to move to social media? Do we need to make sure we're hitting different corridors? And how can we also make sure everyone that's sitting in these seats here are helping us to make this event go off without a hitch? So we've already started thinking through that. We're going to start forward planning a little sooner. So on the lookout as you come back for fiscal year 2026, is that how we call it? What do we? Okay, great. So when we get back from summer break, you'll start hearing a lot about that and the planning. So if you are interested in that, don't hesitate. And again, if you are anyone who's interested in anything from youth services, education, libraries, you have found your place. When you're filling out your application and what committee you want to be in, tick off that youth service, education, libraries box. All right, y'all? Okay, that is it for topical.
So that's it. So you saw the hard sell and the soft sell and the medium sells. So folks, I always do this because I mean this. So I want to give a round of applause to Wayne Rosenfeld and the East Midwest Jewish Center for hosting our meeting, right? And also to Mark Moss over there in the corner for helping us with live streaming this meeting. So the simple fact is, without both of their help and assistance, we couldn't do this the way we do. So I thank you both very much for that. So this brings us to our public comment period. And so board members are expected to remain for the public comment period. Speakers can sign up for time with Patricia and or Sarah at the back of the room up until the beginning of the public comment period. Matters of civic interest and announcements of public events are invited. No partisan political appeals or advertising of for-profit enterprises are permitted. Each speaker will be permitted for up to 3 minutes and may not receive additional time from another speaker. So speakers are directed to address the assembly in the front right at that podium over there. Speakers, I'll let you know when you have 1 minute, 30 seconds left, right? And then at the conclusion of the 3-minute period, I do respectfully ask that you kindly return to your seat. And so the board does have an obligation to conduct its business in an orderly manner, so any person preventing us from doing so may be asked to leave. And it is 8:07 p.m., so the first speaker will be Mary Kay Siri, followed by Joanna Sanford.
Just wait.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to do a quick wrap up on our Spring Clean and Green event, which happened on May 4th. Very successful. 250 people e-cycled, brought their e-cycling. We had a mountain of textile recycling and shredding, and probably the most accomplished thing we did was 60 people got their enhanced or real ID upgrades at the DMV mobile unit, which was incredible. Next. Thank you. We're going to try and get them back again because that was terrific. We have an upcoming event, June 17th. We're doing a children's book giveaway at the Cortelyou Road Library in partnership with Book Bodega. And their mission is to create as many 100-plus book households as possible. So if you have gently used books for kids 0 to 18 years old, you can drop them off at Assemblymember Carroll's office between now and June, and they'll go through them and then do the giveaway at Cortelyou Road. And that's Tuesday, June 17th, between 2:30 and 4:30 is when that event is. We're getting the MTA van back to Assemblymember Carroll's office on July 31st. Remember, MetroCards are being phased out end of this year. They'll be accepted a little bit into 2026, but this is a great opportunity if you are eligible for a reduced fare card or you have questions about Omni and switching over. This is a great opportunity. And finally, the $254 billion New York State budget was finally approved and signed by the governor. Just boiling those billions and billions of dollars down to a nice little relevant local nugget, Assemblymember Carroll wanted me to tell you that there's $13.2 million for Brooklyn library branches for upgrades and improvements, much needed, like roofs and HVAC systems and accessibility, things like that. So hopefully some of that money will come to our branches. Yeah. Okay. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Oh, shoot. You had 1 minute, but thank you. All right. So next up, we have Joanna Sanford, followed by Emily Joachim.
Good evening, everybody. I am Joanna Sanford. I'm representing the Kensington Library. We're located at 4207 18th Avenue. I am the new Adult Services Librarian, and I just wanted to highlight some upcoming adult services events. We have our English conversation class, which is ongoing every Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30. We have Chinese Mahjong, which is every Tuesday at 2 p.m. And then 2 programs for the month of June coming up. We're having a 3D painting for adults where we're going to be painting 3D printed seashells, and that is Tuesday, June 3rd, 6 to 7. And then Thursday, June 26th, we have an author, the author of The Village Beyond the Mist, which is inspiration for the film Spirited Away. We'll have question session with the author plus a showing of the movie Spirited Away. If you're interested, I left flyers in the back. Just tell your neighbors and friends, and just come and see us. Hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Emily Joachim, and then after that, Ellie Slavin.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Oh, okay, good. I'm just here to tell you about 3 upcoming events that we have. So we have a prostate cancer screening truck event coming up, partnering with Mount Sinai, and that's happening on June 12th from 10 to 4. And to RSVP, you can go to our website or call the office. We also have our senior luncheon coming up on Tuesday, June 17th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's going to be here. There'll be flyers in the back. And then lastly, we have our clergy luncheon coming up on Thursday, June 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's going to be at the Bridge Multicultural and Advocacy Project. As always, we are here for you at 1312 Flatbush Avenue. And our number is 718-940-0428. And there's flyers in the back for both events. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. All right, so next up, we have Ellie Slavin. Bless you.
Good evening. My name is Ellie Slavin. I'm community liaison for Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Now, we are in the planning of a town hall meeting with the Congresswoman. As we get more developments, place, and time, I'll let the board know. Now, we're located at 222 Lennox Road between Rogers and Nostrand. We handle all federal issues. Our number, 718-287-1142. However, we do have 2 satellite offices within reach. We have one at every first and third Wednesday at Kojo of Flatbush, located at 1523 Avenue M. You need to call to make an appointment. The number is 718-377-2900. I also left flyers on the table. We have a second satellite office every second and fourth Wednesday at Assemblyman Eichenstein's office, which is 1310 48th Street. The number there is 718-853-9616. Now, first of all, welcome to all the new members. And since you hear me for the first time, so we handle immigration, passports, visas, Social Security, IRS, HUD, and Medicare. Now, just for those who are coming now into traveling season, make sure your passports have 6 months of being valid. If not, it's worthwhile to pay the extra money, which is for expediting and next day delivery if you plan on traveling shortly. However, if you find yourself traveling within a week and you see that your passport is invalid, call our office, 718-287-1142. You come in, you sign a privacy release form. We try to get you an appointment in Manhattan at 376 Hudson Street. But please make sure that your passports are valid. And as I said, you find yourself in an emergency situation, we're here to help you. Again, we're open for business, and welcome for all the new members. You've come to a good place. I cover a number of community boards. I can't say this is the best, but it's one of the best.
He can neither confirm nor deny. That's where we are. Thank you very much, Mr. Slavin. So next up, we have Venus Scantleberry from the CCRB.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Venus Scantleberry. I serve as Brooklyn Outreach for the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board. If you don't know, we are an independent agency that investigates, mediates, and, if necessary, administratively prosecute allegations of police misconduct. Our jurisdiction is force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, offensive language, and racial profiling / bias-based policing / sexual misconduct. That was a lot. I don't have much to report, but we have 2 upcoming events. One tomorrow, we'll be co-hosting the NACOL Regional Conference. NACOL is a National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. We have the privilege of partnering with NACOL this year, and that will be located at City Tech. We'll get the address for you guys right now. That will be held... That will be held at City Tech College. There's plenty of 184 J Street. That's from 9 to 5. Breakfast will be included. So if you're free tomorrow, you should definitely, stop by. Secondly, Wednesday, we have our monthly board meetings. And that's when the community comes out and the board will have a chance to speak to the community about, updates on, caseload and just things that are happening with the agency. Lastly, I'm outreach. So any, opportunities to engage with CB14, I always have the pleasure of doing the youth conference. So that was amazing, by the way. Yes.
Y'all heard her, right?
It was amazing. So please join the committee. I'm not trying to pick favorites, but I love to partner. We do workshops at the YMCA. I was at the YMCA last week. I'll be there again this month. So please reach out to me. This is my cell phone number, 917-742-4098. I will leave some brochures. But thank you and have a great night.
Thank you so much. So next up, we have Portia Edwards and then Abraham Malachowski.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Portia Edwards. I'm the District Director for State Senator Zelda Myrie. I have a lot of updates, so I'm going to move very quickly. On May 9th, the budget passed, and we're very excited about a lot of our priorities being added into the budget this year. I'm going to go through a few of them. Okay. First off, super excited to talk about, in the budget, it formally establishes the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, something that has been near and dear to our heart for a very long time. Also, if you want the in-depth details, please sign up for our newsletter. Our newsletter goes very in-depth into what the bills do, how they function. I can't go into that because I only got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left. The senator is a chair of the Codes Committee, and so we got some good updates in the budget that goes towards codes. There were some updates to the discovery law. There were some updates to housing and funding that we were able to secure to housing. So $50 million to Housing Access Voucher Program, $40 million to the Homeowner Protection Program, $225 million to NYCHA, which is really, really, really important to go towards NYCHA upgrades, $100 million to Mitchell-Lama, and about $50 million to lead abatement and other investments to support new housing construction and expand affordability. There's a lot more. So if you want the full updates, please subscribe to our newsletter that goes out once a week. If there's anyone that wants to receive the newsletter that went out on Friday evening, just come see me. I'll take down your information and forward you over that email as well. Starting next Tuesday, there's a flyer in the back supporting our housing services. We have a wonderful employee by the name of Krista Riley who comes to us from another organization, but she's our staff member now, so hallelujah. We're going to be doing Housing Connect application help in our office every Tuesday starting next Tuesday. I don't know what date that is. I apologize. But next Tuesday, we're going to be starting with appointments. So if you need help with the city system and Housing Connect, she's really good at helping people apply for housing and also showing you what you need in terms of paperwork if you do get accepted to them. So the flyers are in the back. Please call to make an appointment or send an email to make an appointment. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, we're partnering with Prospect Park Alliance and some other organizations to do Connect to Care at the Lefferts Historic House at Prospect Park. This is really important, right? We really want to make sure that our community is being very health conscious, right? And whether it's physical or mental. And so if you know anyone who's interested, it's happening on Saturday, May 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Lefferts Historic House. It is free. You can RSVP. Just send our office an email and we'll be able to get you on the RSVP list. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Thank you very much, Ms.
I
Edwards.
cut it really, really short. And yes, the Education Committee.
I don't know. Other committees got to come a little harder.
For the record, board member Parker was sweating bullets metaphorically before that. She's like, oh man, transportation wears shorts. They deal with MTA. I don't know what I can do. Blah, 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 blah. And you were fine. So yeah. I'm just saying, you did. So next up, we have Abraham Malachowski.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avraham. I'm representing Councilmember Farrah Lewis, and I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm not going to ask anyone to join my committee, so apologies for that. Okay. So I'd like to begin, first off, by thanking Chair Cesar for giving me the opportunity to speak, and Sean Campbell for the kind words earlier and for everything you do. I'd also like to begin by wishing everyone who celebrated a happy Easter, as well as a belated Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and mother figures within our community, and welcome to all the new members. I'm looking forward to working with all of you. As the weather turns warmer, I'm hoping everyone's enjoying spending time outside with friends and family. In that vein, the council member is hosting our annual Family Fun Day in Amherstford Park this Saturday. There's going to be snacks, games, and prizes, and we're looking forward to seeing a lot of you there. Today, we did a lien sale event in the Flatbush YMCA where the Department of Finance came out to assist anybody who has a lien on their property. If you have a lien on your property, you have exactly 1 week left to deal with it, or else it will go into a lien sale, which is something that we would like to avoid. Additionally, the council member, in partnership with the rest of the Brooklyn delegation, will be hosting the annual Haitian Flag Day celebration, which will be taking place at the Brooklyn Children's Museum, 145 Brooklyn Avenue. It will be taking place this Wednesday. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. It will be a party like no other, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone there. Our office, besides for hosting events, is also taking on challenges that affect our daily lives. A week ago, in partnership with New York City's very own Rat Czar and the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene and the Department of Education, we did a walkthrough of a community garden within our district so that we can see what was going on and what needs to be done over there. We're continuing to keep an eye on that location and many others within the district. We're also very, very thrilled to report that we had once more a very successful participatory budgeting season. The ballots were all counted. Winners will come out soon. I believe this year was the second most votes that the city ever had in participatory budgeting, so it's great to see everybody getting their voices heard. Today, the council member attended some FY26 executive budget hearings. By the meetings, she asked the Department of Sanitation what they're doing to tackle illegal dumping within our district. She also pressed them for answers on why civilian enforcement funding within Brooklyn has stayed flat, despite uneven quality of life issues, such as things affecting alternate side parking. And she also asked how the department plans to support low-income family and seniors and those least able to shoulder the costs of the new regulation compliant trash bins. As always, our office is located 1434 Flatbush Avenue. We're open 9 to 5 Monday to Friday. You can reach us either by calling us at 718-629-2900 or coming to speak with me after the meeting. It's very, very nice to see everyone again, and enjoy the nice weather. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How much time do I have left?
Happy Lag BaOmer. Yes.
I missed about that. Thank you, Sean, and happy Lag BaOmer, everyone.
Thank you very much, Abraham. So next up, we have Elizabeth Dennis, followed by Jay Taubman.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Dennis. Some of you may recognize me as a member of the board, but I just want to be very clear that I'm speaking on entirely behalf of myself. I just wanted to remind everyone of a few issues with air quality and in the area, both noting that in indoor spaces such as this one, when there's a lot of people gathered, often, CO2, which is an imperfect proxy for how many cycles the air is being turned over and how much you're breathing in other people's air, is very high. And I have a measuring thing here. And so it can be helpful for people who are trying to avoid respiratory viruses, maybe because they are high risk for something or immunocompromised or have fans or family members who are, or, there's a whole wide range of things that might, encourage someone to, perhaps wear a respirator, or a mask to lessen their likelihood of disease. Also, just wanted to note, I recently found out, this is not an announcement or anything, that other things that are much more common, I didn't know, including like being pregnant or being around people who are pregnant, is something that can also really increase the likelihood of severe outcomes from such diseases. But I also wanted to note that we've been recently having more wildfires these past few years. And so when air quality is high outside, it kind of smells smoky and other things. Masks and other things can also help with that. They're just one layer of protection, but I just wanted to let people know about these ongoing issues so that they have a better understanding of why people, are sometimes doing other things that they're not doing. But just have all the information. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Elizabeth Dennis. So next up, we have Jay Taubman.
Good evening, everybody. I'm
Good
Jay
evening, Jay.
Taubman. I am adult librarian and assistant branch manager from the Brooklyn Public Library Cortelyou branch. I'm going to be telling you about a couple of programs that we have. First, we are going to be having Pick Up Your Bed and Walk, a series of mental health related programs pertaining to, this is physical health related programs pertaining to pain management, herbal tinctures, castor oil, and other things. And we're going to be having them starting May 17th until June 28th. And they're going to be on Saturday from 11 to 12:30. And then the other one we're going to be having is Let's Talk Mental Health, Depression, and Anxiety Summer Empowerment Workshop. We're partnering with Depression and Anxiety Wellness Foundation, CDOF, and we are going to be holding a workshop each week from 6 to 7:45 p.m. on Tuesday. And last but not least, we are having a workshop pertaining to pan music, which is, and we're going to be having that next month. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for other announcements. We're also going to be having the book giveaway next month. So the flyers are in the back over there if you're interested in more information, or you can talk to me after the meeting is over, and I'll be glad to answer whatever questions that you have. And I want to wish everybody happy belated Mother's Day, happy upcoming Lag BaOmer, or Shavuot, or Eid, and whatever other holidays I may have unintentionally missed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Jay. Really appreciate that. So I want to thank members of the public for coming out tonight. It's always great to learn about the new programs and hear updates on the work that folks are doing. And so this concludes the public comment period. Before I do the motion to adjourn, putting a good look in the universe for the Knicks. They're down by 9 points right now. I'm just saying, it's real. Hey, bing bong. It's real. So now that I got that out the way, do I have a motion to adjourn? All right, so this concludes our general board meeting at 8:29 p.m.
I know. Right, how? Exactly.
Because I just pulled it up, that's why.